Yes,
Okay, does everybody have a copy of the agenda or?
I'll post it here.
Awesome. Um, Generally, we start out with introductions and any tech issues that are coming up for you, we'll address those also. But first, we'll start with introductions, and I'll go first. I'm Tamara Bauman. I am a housing advocate at Solid Ground. I'm also a Continuum of Care board member and System Performance Committee co-chair. And I am a person with lived experience of domestic violence and homelessness. And I will pass this on to my co-chair, Christy.
Thank you, Tamara. Hi, everybody. I guess I can take these off for a minute since I'm not there. Welcome. Glad to see all the new members here. My name is Christy Hamilton. I use she, her, hers. I am co-chair with Tamara for the System Performance Committee. I also sit with Tamara on the advisory committee. I'm a Native American elder. I fight for the rights of our Brown and Indigenous people. And I also have lived experience as into homelessness. And I will pass on to Janelle.
Yeah. Hello, welcome everyone. Sorry, I'm a little getting things a little bit organized here, making sure that we get everyone promoted that should be promoted. But Janelle Rothfolk, she, her pronouns. I am with KCRHA. I am the data asset manager, so I help support the community on HMIS, Homeless Management Information System, reporting, performance, and analytics. And in this role, I'm supporting admin and training. So that's how I am showing up here in this space. Let's see. I will pass it over to Stephanie.
Hello, everyone. I'm Stephanie Carrington. I use she, her pronouns. I am the senior project administrator or a system administrator for the King County HMIS. And I attend this space just to give updates on HMIS. And today I'll share a little bit about where we're at with federal reporting specifically. And I'll pass it to Joel.
Hi, everyone. I'm Joel Bernstein. I'm a data management specialist here at KCRHA. In this space, really to support Janelle and her admin duties, and that's really what I do in my day-to-day job, as well as support her, support the system. I will pass it to Victoria.
Hello, everyone. My name is Victoria Ewing Kwan. I use she, her pronouns. I am a new committee member. I'm currently the lead evaluator for housing stability programs with King County Department of Community and Human Services. And I've been doing work with data analysis around the homeless response system with the county for the past going on 4 years now. And I'm really excited to be joining this space. I will pass it to Erica.
Hi, everyone. Erica Squetta, she, her pronouns. I am also new to this committee and also from King County DCHS. I am a program manager. I primarily have contract and program oversight of our permanent supportive housing contracts with a focus on our True Blood Phase 4 programs. And thank you for letting me join my first meeting. I will pass it to Christina.
Hi all, my name is Christina Haight. I use she and her pronouns. So I have my background is all social services. I've been a domestic violence advocate. I work in housing, frontline staff, shelter, transitional, permanent housing. For like about 10 years. And so right now, my last job, I worked with people living with HIV, having mental health issues, drug addiction issues. So I have a quite long background in that. I'm actually doing a career pivot I'm in a certificate program for data analyst because I still want to help people, but I think I'm ready to do it in a different capacity because I feel like I'm ready to make a change for myself. But so I'm kind of excited, and I was like, listening to people like, hey, you know, so I'm excited to be in this group, and I'm also a newbie. So hi all. Oh, I suck at trying to figure out who's next. I'm sorry. Who hasn't gone? That would be easier for me than trying to.
If you guys can raise your hands, if I don't know if Zoom does that, but if you haven't gone yet, if you could,
Please.
please.
I haven't gone yet.
Okay, go ahead.
Darlene Weigel, I use she, her pronouns, and I have a background in project management, and I was also a crisis therapist. And now I oversee all of the Seattle site-based housing programs at the Y Social Impact Center. And I'm a giant data nerd. Anybody at the Social Impact Center can tell you that. And I have lived experience with homelessness. Oh, and Ruby, would you like to go next?
Sure. Hi, my name's Ruby, and I'm also new. And I thank you guys for allowing me to come onto the committee. I've lived in, I use she, they pronouns, and I've lived here in King County for 31 years. I have lived experience with pretty much all aspects of the homelessness system except for getting housing. So I feel that's important, but I'm a street musician by day, and then I'm also a data nerd by night. And I do like a lot of work in outreach just by, you know, talking to my neighbors, my unhoused neighbors, and supporting our housed neighbors with the true, you know, systemic like reasons for homelessness. So I'm an advocate, I guess, long and short of it. But I also do research for my boss, who is pretty active in systems work. So he's trying to figure some stuff out like we all are. And I got to do like an in-depth research into HMIS. So I know a lot about that. And I know a lot about the COC grant and ESG grant processes and all that sort of stuff. So I'm just here to raise the lived experience voice. I also went through domestic violence. So I want to actually, if I can really quick, my friend Allie, who didn't make it through domestic violence, it's actually her anniversary of her death today. So I just want to put her mom in all of our minds today. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, Ruby. And know that you're not alone in that. I guess I'll also share my vulnerability in that my best friend also did not survive domestic violence. And you and I are survivors. So thank you for sharing that and for being vulnerable with the group. And I think
thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to hear about your best friend.
Thank you. Thank you. I think moving on to the next piece, unless I missed anybody. Did I miss Sherry?
Sherry and Barbara, yeah, two new attendees.
Hi, everyone. I am one of the evaluation and analytics coordinators with KCRJ. I work with Janelle and Owen. And I use she, her pronouns.
And I think Sherry.
Okay. Hi, my name is Sherry, and I am the director of King County Emergency Family Shelter Intake Lines, as well as Mary's Place, and on the advisory board for continual care. Our pronoun is she, her.
Awesome. Well, I think we will move on to the land acknowledgement, and Christy will take the lead on that one.
Thank you. Boy, I got somebody knocking at the door, somebody calling me in this meeting. I'm glad to be so popular today. It wasn't always so. I'm very grateful to be here today. My name is Christy Hamilton. I'm a daughter of the Assiniboine Nation and the Salish Kootenai Nation from Montana. I'm blessed by blood to be Native American and to be a Native American elder. A lot of times I didn't think I would live to be a Native American elder. Today, I'd like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Duwamish people, the first people of this area that were here long before we were. And they will be here long after we're gone, I believe. We have gratitude for these people, past and present, and we honor them with our acknowledgement is a first step towards reparations to the multiple wrongs that have been foisted on these people who were the first people. I'd like to read you a little something from my tribe. My tribe is the Nakota, our N speakers. There are D speakers, and known as Dakota, and the L speakers known as Lakota. And if you've seen Dances with Wolves, you'll know about the Lakota people. The Nakota people have been almost eradicated. There's only 2 bands left, and I'm one of them. It's the Haudenosaunee, which is the canoe paddlers. The other tribal band we have is the Wadopana, and that's the red bottoms. It doesn't mean your butt's red, it means the red bottom of the silty creeks that we used to catch our fish and boat on. So in the Nakota tradition, we Indians, we know about silence. We aren't afraid of it. In fact, to us, it is more powerful than words. But you don't convince anybody with words. You don't convince anyone by arguing. People make their decisions in their heart. Talk doesn't touch my heart. So how I'm learning to think about my words is I think about them like seeds. I try to plant them, then I let them grow in silence. Our old people taught us that the earth is always speaking to us, but we have to be silent to hear her. I can understand the trees. So I'm going to challenge every one of you this day, when you're done here, to go out and just stand next to a tree that you're familiar with in your neighborhood. Just go out and put your arms around that tree, hug that tree, become a tree hugger. Don't care what anybody else around you is doing or thinking or saying. Go hug that tree, close your eyes, and I guarantee you will feel the earth. And as we do so, we come together as people who are interested in creating this type of world that we elevate with our oneness, with our sameness, with our blood of the mother is the same blood that runs in all of us. And one of the things that we do here is we work tirelessly in the realm of housing to make sure that everybody has a roof over their head. It's like you have a tree in your heart, you have a roof over your head, because housing is a human right. It's not a privilege. And we believe that here in this committee. So thank you for letting me share. Thank you for letting me share the wisdom of Mother Earth and my tribal elders. And I'm just delighted that you're all here today. Aho. You're on mute, Tamara.
Oopsie. Thank you for that land acknowledgement. And I think next on the agenda is public comment. If there are any folks in the attendee list that want to speak or put something in the chat, now is the good time to do so. And we'll keep the chat open. So if anything comes up later in the meeting, feel free to just plug it in.
I see 3 people added to the meeting here, Tamara and Janelle, Darren Gaynor, Deborah Srebnick, and Jody Rauch. I want to acknowledge them.
Yes. Are they
And all
attendees?
they are attendees, and I have permitted talking for all of you, so you should be able to take yourself off mute. And you're welcome to do so now if there's anything you would like to, or not, if you would like to practice silence, as Christy just talked about.
Thank you, Janelle. I'll practice silence now.
Thanks, Janelle. This is Deb. I don't have anything, so I will stay quiet. Thanks.
All right. Well, I think the next piece was about discussing our meeting intentions, and we had started this a couple months back. Do you happen to have that list available, Janelle? And if not, then we can skip that, because I was
One
thinking-
second.
Well, while we wait for that, like I'm kind of curious about how people, just like a get to know you icebreaker thing, like how would you describe yourself? If you could describe yourself in one word, what would that be? And I think for me, there's so many, passionate comes to mind, but that's so cliche. And I guess mama bearish. Anyone else?
Protector.
Like
I would put stubborn.
that.
You might mention your love of the well-being blueprint. I know that's a huge part of our mission statement and what we hope to accomplish here. And I know you always like talking about it, Tamara.
Thank you. And you're always reminding me about it because I forget. So I appreciate you so much. Yes, the Wellbeing Blueprint is one of the projects of Full Frame Initiative, who developed like the 5 domains of well-being framework. And the Wellbeing Blueprint was created in 2020, like right after the pandemic hit. And there's basically, I think of Full Frame Initiative and the Wellbeing Blueprint as the perfect vehicle for systems change. And it's about like not just housing and homelessness, but any issue that affects humans. They have like a perfect format and structure for advocating for change. And I could not be a bigger fan of theirs, and I'd be happy to share more about that, you know, in a future meeting. But check them out, Full Frame Initiative, and then the Wellbeing Blueprint.
Hold back. Go ahead.
And if I can interject for the new people that are starting in the committee, for your orientation, we'll be asking tomorrow to be doing a presentation. So you'll be able to get some more information and a little bit of a training about that, because it's how it'll be really important for your grounding as a participant in this committee.
Okay, so this is. Oh, go ahead.
Were we supposed to say our one word or something, or no?
If you'd like to, it's kind of voluntary. I just thought it would be cool.
Okay. Oh, I thought we were all doing well. Yeah, random and thorough.
I like that. Very relatable.
I know that's more than one word, but well.
I like challenging the status quo, pushing the envelope. Good for you. Do it. So I guess just to do a brief review of our meeting intentions is to focus on the business at hand. And so what's on the agenda is what we should stick to. And then of course the well-being focus, like we'll go into that in more detail a little later on. And for any grievances or issues that you may be experiencing either at your organization or anything that's going on in the community that you think could be a problem for the people we're serving, then I've been doing this already with my program participants, but have people connect with the Ombuds office at KCRHA. I don't know of any other homeless response system in the country that has stood up an Ombuds office to be accountable to our folks, our community members experiencing homelessness. And so because accountability is a huge, important value that we share, that is where I'm channeling people to go when they have grievances. Yeah. Christy.
I just wanted to mention that that's Katara Jordan is the head of the Ombuds office for KCRHA. And at some point we'll have her come introduce herself to the meetings, that she's such an integral part of our KCRHA. Thanks, Tamara.
Yeah, thank you. And then just the last piece. Oh, are there? That's great. That's good. I mean, I hope there's more coming along that implement that Ombuds.
It's not as many as you would like to see, but there's definitely a few. I would say there's a couple in California, Southern California, maybe. And then I think over in New York as well. I'll have to double check on that, but I know there's a few. I've seen a few. So
that's great. That just kind of like, we're the leaders, right? Washington, California, and New York. That makes sense to me that those areas would have, that innovative
think
approach to accountability.
maybe, what is the other one? There's St. Louis maybe has one, and maybe Chicago as well too. Also looking at that.
Awesome. I'm gonna have to look into that. And then of course, also like being respectful, like step up or step back for folks who either like to talk a lot or more reserved. Just be respectful and don't interrupt folks, because that when we get all passionate and wild up, and I am guilty of this, tend to want to just interject and speak my piece. But let's just try to, if there's a virtual like talking stick, I wish we had one. But just wait until somebody's completed their thought before saying something. Appreciate you. Anything else to add?
We have a hand, Ruby.
Yeah, I was just going to apologize for that. I'm working on my interrupting. So I thank you for reminding me, and I hear you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah. That's all I
Okay,
have for that.
there's our agenda. Wait, there it is.
Yeah. With that, I think we can just jump into the orientation and training.
Okay, great. I'll go ahead and get started on that. Hopefully you can see these slides okay. If it's all right, I prefer not to go into presenter mode, just so I can have a little reference here. So what we're doing with the System Performance Committee throughout this year is providing opportunity for training about our system and what governance of HMIS means, and making sure that you all have the tools and knowledge necessary to be able to perform your functions on this committee. This is a active committee. You will be asked to vote on things and to provide your input on things and to help draft and come up with a policy that will affect our entire system. So in order to be successful in that, we want to make sure that we are giving you those tools to be able to do that job. So I just go over a brief reminder of what this committee does, and then we will each meeting will be doing a different training topic. And we meet to decide those training topics in this agenda really the first week of the month, I believe it is. Me and Christy and Tamara and Joel, we meet to kind of go over what the agenda. That is open to anyone who would like to have things on the agenda or be a part of that planning meeting. So I just want to throw that out there. It's not like a closed meeting, but we do want to be respectful of everyone's time and understand that you may not want to be a part of planning a meeting and attending a meeting. But with that said, if you're not able, if you'd like to participate in the agenda prep but can't make your commitment, you could also send, just let us know if there's something you want to add to the agenda. So we're pretty open with that. Christy?
Just thank you, Janelle. Specifically, everybody, those meetings are the first Wednesday of every month from 10 to 11 roughly, maybe a little longer, but we usually get her done in an hour. So every Wednesday,
yes,
from 10 to 11 specifically. Thank you, Janelle.
Mm-hmm. And you can message in the chat if you want me to add you to that invite, or if you want to think about it, you can always contact me later and let me know. So at any point, and then the agendas are always posted online in advance of the meeting, and then you'll get your meeting materials at least 1 week ahead. So at that point, if there's something you wanted to add, we could still do that for you at that point. So we want to make sure that everyone is getting things on the agenda that are important, and that there's a review process and there's a reason why certain things are on the agenda that you're seeing. Okay, I want to run over a few items in this slide deck. And this is basically the overview of our homeless management information system governance structure that we have set up. So a few things about what the HMIS is. So the HMIS is our data platform that we collect client level data. So in that system, there is demographic information about clients, program enrollments, services, assessments, annual reviews, location information, contact information, household information is all stored within the HMIS. It is a required database if we are as our community does, accept federal money from the from HUD. In which we do, and so it is required that we have this tracking mechanism. In addition, we have expanded the HMIS to include other local programs and initiatives, and so that data is also captured into the HMIS. Certain programs that receive funding from KCRHA will have a requirement to enter in client level data. It's a way for us to have accountability as to how those dollars are being spent, and for service coordination among the different service providers and outreach workers that we have in our system. So we have well over 1,000 active client records in the HMIS. There are over 1,000 users that access this system, and we have, I think we're over 95 agencies at this point. Stephanie could get us the exact number. And over 650 programs, housing programs, shelter programs, services only programs, etc., are in the HMIS that we oversee and manage. Some of the key questions that our system helps us answer is how responsive our system is. Are people getting into housing from our system? Are there any roadblocks? Are there any racial equity issues that we are seeing with how our services are being provided that we need to address? What is the utilization rate? Are we at 100% in the shelters, or are we at 75%? Why is that? How many people are returning to homelessness? At what stage? 6 months, 3 months, 1 year, 2 years? Do we have people who return, and who are those people who are returning? And then what's the inflow looking like? How many new people are experiencing homelessness in our system, in our community, and where are they coming from? And so these are all really important questions that help us to make really key decisions as to what priorities that are being made. Joel today is going to be presenting more on this information, so you guys can get an overview of really the system level metrics and dashboards that we review, and you guys will start to review, and so that way you have full line of sight as to who is coming into the system, how are they moving through the system, are there any changes, what trends are we seeing? So those will be things that this committee will start to be reviewing, and so that's going to be you'll get a little bit of that training today. Okay, so that's a lot of records, as you're probably thinking. That's a lot of agencies. And so what's very important for us is that we maintain the privacy and security of the system, and that we're following all the procedures and processes that are set forward by HUD. So in order to accomplish that, we have this governing structure. And so you see that there's the advisory board. We sit underneath the system performance, or we sit beneath the advisory board as a system performance committee. So we have been tasked with the HMIS governance on behalf of the advisory board. So what that looks like is, like I said, we set the agenda of items that we want to discuss, or things or changes that we want to propose. We have control over that. We report up to the advisory board as to what the activities are of this committee. And so we make sure that there is that line of sight into our work that we're doing. And then we oversee, you guys actually oversee my role and KCRHA role. KCRHA is the what's called the HMIS lead entity. And so we hold the responsibility of the other pieces here, HMIS system administration and overseeing the partner agencies. And so you guys supervise and provide direction to us to do the operations and the implementation. So it's very important that you know what happens at that level, at the KCRHA level, because you ultimately will be responsible for the actions of KCRHA. And then we oversee the HMI system administration. So Stephanie is here, and she supports a crazy amount of activities that happen with HMIS administration. And then the HMIS partner agencies also play a key role in collecting the data and maintaining those records, making sure that it's entered timely, records are complete, records are accurate. And so the system administration helps to support those agencies in that data collection. So specifically, some tasks that you will see here at this committee is these tasks. So approving the HMIS annual work plan, we do that every January. Monitoring the HMIS data quality, we're going to be starting to add that to this committee. And then oversee the privacy security, the system compliance. So we just did a training last month on privacy and security, and then we did an audit of a few of our of key areas that we're seeing that could need some improvement. And so, and then building those into the work, KCRHA building those into the work plan and review. And approving data sharing policies and overseeing federal reporting. So those would be some sample activities. For example, last month we just approved a new agency request policy that was approved by this agency, and today we're going to be working on another policy. Ruby.
Yeah, I just had a quick question about the privacy and security stuff. What kind of, I guess I would say, what kind of things are they focusing on when you're talking about the audit on the privacy and security? Yeah, I guess. Can you explain that further?
Yeah, definitely. So we have a security plan that's put in place, and then we have different security documents and agreements that are put in place. So at the agency level, there's a responsibility, and then at the KCRHA level, there's a responsibility to review all of the actions of the agency, any breaches or issues that they're having with maintaining that security and privacy. We do annual retraining of everybody. We do a twice a year security check, which we're right now in the process of doing that. And then we also have a training for all of our privacy officers. There's one privacy officer per agency. So those are the specific activities. And there's a few pieces that we are adding at KCRHA, adding a privacy officer to do additional reviews and drafting additional policies. Question.
I do. On the right side of the presentation, it shows that the current status and action is needed. Maybe clarify that we have done these things, because it looks like we're still needing to do those.
We have, yeah. That's true.
So,
that's true. We could
so
update.
yeah, like at least we're doing something, huh? Thank you.
Yeah,
I know those slides are from the last, probably last quarter, because Stephanie just posted all the updated information about who we serve. So, okay, that's just my little peccadillo.
Thank you. We'll add that to the notes to update that for the next meeting. But yeah, we did. We are moving forward. We made a lot of progress in this committee in the short amount of time, and there's still a lot of work that we're hoping to get done this year. Okay, I'm going to turn it over. I think my part is done. So let me go back to the agenda. Oh, we were going to do the continuing HMIS governance review. I'm kind of thinking it would be the governance review that I have set up for us today is related to data analysis. And I'm thinking that it might be more helpful to have Joel present on the dashboards and the reports so you guys can kind of see the data. And so that you have kind of like a visual before we kind of dive into more of this discussion of these particular oversights. Does that work for Christine tomorrow? Is that okay? Okay. So I'm gonna actually turn this over to Joel. I'll let you go ahead.
Great. Yeah, so I'm going to be showing kind of two reports. One is the collection of data that we have on the KCRHA website, like system performance data. And then I'll also show an example of what we call the King County Outcomes Report, which is the report we use to kind of evaluate program outcomes on a program by program basis. So first I'm going to do the system performance page, and I will first just put that link in the chat so anyone can follow along if they want to. And then I will also share my screen here. All right, can everyone see that? Great. Okay, so what this page is really doing is showing system-wide kind of some of the key metrics that we track. You'll see that this data is from November 2021 to September 2022. This is updated quarterly, and it's updated a quarter past. So for example, the quarterly update is going to be happening in the next couple of days. So come back to this page if you want to see new data in the next week or so. But then it'll be through the end of 2022, because we need data to be able to mature on like program exits and kind of the outcomes in the months after that exit to be able to analyze it. So that's why it's kind of a quarter behind always. There's these five metrics here are kind of what all of this data is visualizing in some way or the other. The first is basically measuring the rate of which, when someone is exited from a program in HMIS, we have to put in the destination, and this is measuring the percentage of destinations that are a permanent housing destination. So, that's a success in our system is when someone exits to a permanent housing situation. So that's only at 58% right now. This next one, average length of stay, is pretty self-explanatory. It's the average amount of time people are spending in different housing situations, different specific programs in HMIS. So that covers, as you can see, emergency shelter, transitional housing, and rapid rehousing. And I take this one with a grain of salt because it's dependent on programs inputting exit dates and exiting people from their programs in a timely manner, and that does not always happen.
I have a question real quick, and I probably should have asked this long ago. Are Lehigh stats for the tiny homes included in this, or are we involved with them at all through HMIS?
I believe, and Janelle, correct me if I'm wrong, but they are now classified as emergency shelters, right?
Yeah, we have and we've always had data on them. And we would classify them as emergency shelter, so they would be included in this dashboard. I think a couple years ago they started to meet the requirement by HUD as a shelter, meaning that instead of being like a sanctioned encampment, that they have facilities on site and stuff like that that would then warrant them to be moved over into our federal reporting. But we've always captured them in the HMIS.
Okay, so they are part of the HMIS. Thank you.
Yeah, and Christy, you can see here, I found a couple of them here. Each of these little dots represents a program. And so here's a couple of the tiny house villages. You can see Low Income Housing Institute. So
wow, and that's the link you put in the chat. Thank you. That's very informative. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, no problem. This next one is basically measuring of everyone who was served in HMIS, how many of them was their previous destination one of homelessness. And so those or an institutional setting. So it could be jail, hospital, drug treatment, or a place not meant for habitation, or like a temporary, an emergency shelter or something like that, something that is not permanent housing. Finally, utilization rate is measuring of programs, of housing programs that have a fixed number of units, how many beds are being filled. So each of these metrics kind of has like a minimum standard of I think these probably comes from HUD is where those standards come from. And we're either, according to this data, we're either fulfilling it or not. So all of these dots down here represent one program, and there you can see they're divided by type: shelter, transitional housing, rapid rehousing, and then permanent housing, including PSH. So a colored in dot, you can see here, it's currently set to number of targets met. And so that's talking about these 5 metrics here. So if a program is meeting at least one of these targets, it will be colored in. And if it's not, it will be, gray. And so what's great about this page here is that you can change the number of targets being met. So if we want to see who's meeting 3 of these, then we can do that. And a bunch of, see now there are much fewer filled in dots because that's a harder obstacle to get to, or a harder threshold to obtain. Christy, I kind of see your hand up. Yeah.
Yeah, are you, that's wonderful, especially for future funding opportunities. Are you seeing a trend in the dots that aren't filled in corresponding to low performing organizations and providers?
I have not done that analysis, so I could not tell you right off the top of my head. But that
is that in the works though? Because I see this data as it is fabulous. Well done, Joel.
I did not build this, first of all, so give credit to my colleague Claire.
You're explaining it. That's good though.
Yeah, but that is a great example of something we can do. And I know as KCRHA is going through the rebid process, there's a lot of evaluation happening, a lot of program performance evaluation. So I don't know too many details on that, so I can't speak to it, but that's
pretty focused on that, looking at low performers as not being automatic grantees for HUD money. That's a huge ethic and a huge mission for us as well. And I'm going to quiet down. I see Sherry's got her hand up as well. So thank you, Joel.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask, is this only for single men or single women or youth shelter?
Great question. So one of these other filters we have here is see where it says all populations? We can filter that to say single adults, family with children, and youth and young adults. So if we want to just see families with children, we can change that. And so any combination of these. So the other kind of filters we have here there's system-wide targets and minimum standards. And then you can also filter by project type. So if I select rapid rehousing, families with children, minimum standards, one target met, then we just get that information. And again, you can hover over each of these dots to see the specific program. And then also, yeah, these metrics change too, depending on what your search is. So keep an eye on those.
So are we able to do that as well? We have.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, the link I put in the chat, you can just click that and start playing around in here. It's a lot of interesting data that's encapsulated just in this one page.
Okay.
So the other thing I want to show here is, so this is program performance. There's also these annual trends sections. So if you want to see some of this data on a sort of a year-to-year basis, then you can do that. So here we're saying, okay, what percent of households successfully gained permanent housing? And so each of these colors represents this range of 2016 through 2021. So you can kind of see how per metric, how we're doing across years. So you can see like the PSH has stayed pretty consistent. Emergency shelters, the rate has gone up over the last 5 years or so of people exiting into permanent housing situations. So that would be a good indication for our system. So there's a lot to be gleaned from this. And then you can also, highlight one at a time. And then on the right, let me change my little zoom settings here. You can select what you're trying to measure. So if it's recidivism you're trying to do, you can set it to that filter, and then you'll see what percentage of households returned homelessness after gaining permanent housing. And you get that year to year based on the different housing types. So we have that, and then we also have that in terms of kind of population trends. So by age here, and it's the same filters with the demographic category is another thing you can customize on this. So veteran, race, ethnicity, and household composition. So there's a lot of like, you can kind of see there's a whole lot of combinations of filters and visualizations you can have just on this page. And then if you want to learn more about the methodology, we have this nice little write up here, as well as that last tab. That's as I think far into detail as I'll go on this page. I also want to mention that there's other, whole other pages here for more details on household served, crisis response. This is the page we're on, system performance, and then rapid rehousing on the right here. And then also we have some, historical reports on the PIT, coordinated entry data, and then this is, I think, the research. So there's a lot of great stuff on the website. I definitely encourage everyone to like poke around. If there's like a program-wide question you want to answer, there's a good chance you'll be able to just by filtering to the correct things. And if anyone's having trouble finding a specific answer to your question, I'm always available to help try to get that. So next I will show, so that's kind of the system-wide. This is what we use for a program performance. If we want to go into more detail on a specific program, it's a clarity.
Sorry, Joel. Sorry, Joel,
Yeah.
before you go into that report, can
Mhm.
can you go down and pull up the coordinated entry one real quick? I just
Yeah.
want to show where are the dashboards for the coordinated entry?
If you go through the data tab at the top, there's a coordinated entry tab.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Victoria.
Mhm.
So yeah, so sometimes there's some questions about the coordinated entry system and how people are kind of moving through that process. And so this is this dashboard where you can go in and see, and you can see there's a flow chart of the coordinated entry process and the prioritization and assessment. And then, yeah, and then there's also a tab for each of the different processes in the coordinated entry. So the assessment and then the prioritization, and you can see the flow if you want to click on prioritization. So you could see how many people were prioritized for housing and the different breakout of the population type.
And then again, yeah, so you can do it by gender identity.
So yeah, so I like to put it this way because there's the system performances can be like focus on like the different programs, and then this one is that sort of how people are moving through our system. So this is always a good one to kind of cross reference.
Mm-hmm. Any other specific ones you want to show, Janelle?
That was it. I'm sorry. Was there any
you're good.
ones that people wanted to have us look through?
It was just amazing to me to see the correlation, and I guess I always knew this, but to have it here in data sets, the correlation between the decrease in service utilization at the onset of the pandemic and the return to homelessness. That just struck me today. Just I was stunned. Thank you, Joel.
Yeah, for sure. So this is an example, and this I'll say that this is like it comes from a training site, so none of the data in here comes from real data, and a lot of the numbers will be wonky. So don't pay too much attention to the numbers themselves, because they're not particularly realistic. But just for the metrics that we're tracking in this report, this comes from Clarity. Clarity will generate this report. You put in, like, for a given agency, you put in the date range you want it to include. It can do multiple programs from the same agency at the same time. So it's a really good kind of agency evaluation tool. You'll see it has a lot of the same metrics we just talked about, like, household exits to a permanent destination, return to homelessness rate, average length of stay, utilization rate is right here. So a lot of the same things, but more detail, and like the equity outcomes is a great thing that this has. Where you can go by race and ethnicity and look at the different statistics for each of those categories. And then this is kind of the aggregate up here of, so it's almost similarly set up to the page we were just on, just kind of for a single program. So hopefully it's easy to go back and forth between those. This next page is more for if you're comparing different types of programs. Like right now, there's only a rapid rehousing program in this report. So you'll see everything is NA except for rapid rehousing. But if you're trying to evaluate, okay, this agency is doing great with their rapid rehousing program, but, I've heard some things about their day shelter or, their outreach program, then there's you can do kind of some comparison on this page. And then this is also nice. You can get a sense of data quality. So, all of the data we've gone over is only as good as the quality of the data entry that makes up what we're looking at. So this is a good sense, like, okay, maybe the statistics themselves don't look good, but maybe that's more, you can attribute that to data entry and data quality more than actual program performance. So it's always good to have a sense of confidence in the data you're looking at, and whether that, if it reflects what's happening on the ground or not. So a lot of the percent data completed, percent don't know, data not collected is a good indication of whether the data you're looking at is reliable. That is about all I got. Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, thanks, Joel. We wanted to show this one. This is a report that the programs are required for them to turn into our performance team each month at KCRHA to be reviewed and to make sure that the programs are meeting the targets that are outlined in their contract. So it's important to review this. It's also these outcomes, etc. They were established with a partnership between Seattle and King County. I don't even know, around 2016. And so it is something with KCRHA being the new HMIS lead and also overseeing the contracts that and also the NOFO process, that this is an area where the System Performance Committee will most likely get pulled in this year of evaluating what outcomes do we want to be measuring, and do we want to keep these measurements, or are there other measurements that should be captured? And so we're working with the programs team through and the advisory committee is involved with evaluating some of these metrics. And then at some point, I'm not totally clear, but we'll be bringing in the System Performance Committee in a capacity to review these and make recommendations as well. And so we do have this listed on our HMIS work plan for this year. And Stephanie will be pulled in to help with assisting with this report as well. So it's just, it needs to be reviewed. It needs to be double checked and made sure that this is what we want to do with our path forward. Okay.
I see Christina has her hand up.
So with the report we just looked at, you can't pull that from the HMIS. So you have them fill out a form. I got confused. I'm sorry. I just wanted to
Yeah, so that one does come from HMIS. Yeah, it's you have to have HMIS access in order to create the report. So like you won't be able to just go online like we did for the other one and view it. You would need HMIS access for that agency to be able to view that report.
Oh, so that's what you pull. That's what you all pull to make and fill out for the agency. Sorry, I misunderstood
Oh,
Okay,
actually,
I
we
thought
have,
the agency filled out the form. I was like, why? I was confused. I was like, oh,
well, I mean, right now we do have the agency pull their own report and then
oh,
they submit it to KCRHA. We could
Uh-huh.
technically pull it for them. But we also want to know that they're looking at the data and like they're verifying that they have read and understood the report and they are submitting it. So it's also sort of like a compliance why
okay.
we do that process too. Like, okay, we've both looked at the same report and
Okay.
we both are, you know, okay with it. So the contract monitor is seeing like, okay, and addressing any issues like, oh, I saw that you didn't enroll anybody last month. I'm going to have some questions as to, you know, what's going on. Is there a staffing issue or whatever, so that we can make a note. And the idea is to be able to support and follow up on issues before they become issues. And so if there's something that's going on at the agency that KCRHA can support on, like, you know, if there's a staffing or funding or program and things that we know about, or if it's other things, and that way we can note them. So for example, like if we see a utilization drop, then, you know, we find out why, and like, oh, well, we've had a facilities issue. We had to offboard a number of units for a certain amount of time. So that's why you're going to see it. So
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you. I just wanted, and also I just want to make sure I was following everything. Thank you.
yeah. Ruby, go ahead.
Thank you. I just had a quick question about the sheltered count on what metric is this? This is the, sorry, I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, well, it's the one that shows how many sheltered and unsheltered and then unknown shelter status there are. It looks like maybe we have less sheltered people now than we did back in August of 2022. And I was just curious if that has to do with just the hotel beds that were lost, or what is that? Is there a specific reason for that? That's all. Thank you.
Which one are you looking at?
I'm so sorry. It's the one that kind of looks like a slopey scale, like a slopey graph. Under, if you go to, I'll scroll all the way down, maybe on these other buttons, and then it's households served
Okay.
right there. And then on the orange section, the sheltered section, I was noticing that back in August of 2022, it was 5,399 sheltered, I believe. Something around there.
Yep.
Yeah, and then now it's lower, and it looks like maybe it's the amount of like how many beds we lost because of the motel, or it wasn't there something that was lost there, or no? Like, wasn't there like a motel that closed down that was offering shelters, or like a contract that was broken? There we go. That's what it was.
That could be. Victoria, do you have any more information on
I
for
don't.
November, December? We see
No.
about this could be, it could be normal ebb and
It is
flow.
it is a pretty small percentage variation, and there is kind of, like Janelle was saying, there is ebb and flow between the months. It's more when we see like a continuous trend or a really sharp drop, that's something like, you know, where you can see it at the start of the pandemic. That's where there's this precipitous drop. Those are the things that we tend to look into.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
so
you
this,
for clarifying that. Thank you.
yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, so we're always sort of onboarding and closing and shelter beds. So this would be sort of expected behavior. Yeah. Okay, great. I'm hoping that we can, and I think I'll probably do the slideshow on this one. It's just kind of small. Okay, So now that you've had a very quick orientation for that, we're gonna go into what a few of the items here. I only have 5 items for us to go over today. And I think there's about like 50 or 60 separate items on this evaluation matrix that we'll be going through throughout the year. It's a continuous evaluation, and it evaluates many different categories of HMIS governance. And so each month we'll be doing a training topic and then following up with particular items on that evaluation matrix for us to go over and look at, because it would be way overwhelming to do it all at once. And so we just started this last month, and we will we're focusing on the items at the beginning that us at KCRHA are saying, like, I think you guys should have awareness into these ones. There's other areas of the matrix that are pretty standard and have a lower risk. So we're kind of like looking at the ones that are higher risk. So it won't always be so in depth, but we wanted to make sure that these ones were looked at first. Okay. Let me move this over. And so what I've done is just kind of put a check mark next to them if like, you know, I'm seeing like there would be something that you would want to tell KCRHA to like look into. But this is just my recommendation. So you guys are the ones that are providing the leadership here. So please do intervene if you don't, you know, agree or think something different. And so then yellow is sort of like, I think that there could be some action. And then red would be a serious concern. I don't have any reds through the matrix. So we'd mostly be looking at like the yellow and greens as kind of like a first test. If there was a red, it would come up right away to this committee. So the first one is a question on the matrix, this evaluation matrix. So does the HMIS lead work collaboratively with the COC to review HUD and federal partner reports and address any data quality or report validation concerns prior to report submission? And so this question is asking about the federal reports that we submit, and is there a review process of making sure that the data quality is correct? And the reason that it's green is because we actually have a formal contract with Bitfocus to provide this level of review. And there are standard processes in place that we've developed with that team to do a high level quality review of all the data before it gets submitted. And so because that's been really a main focus of this committee and the HMIS is those federal reports and making sure that they are in good shape. We are building upon that, and so we do have that in place. So I put that one as a green. Next one is, does the HMIS lead work collaboratively with the COC to ensure that the HMIS bed and unit inventories correspond with the housing inventory count and that all projects are accurately typed? And so the reason that I put this one as yellow, so we do, like I said, this is a federal report, the housing inventory count. We're in the midst of doing the housing inventory count right now. This is a federal report of basically, you know, counting every single bed in our entire system, whether they're in HMIS or not. So we actually do even a more comprehensive review. The reason that I put this as yellow is there's this extra component that is tying like a program description to the housing inventory count. And there, we do have like a description that is in with the contract with Flux as you would sign it. There's obviously, this is what the project does. But we don't have that project description lined up with with that actual report. So that would be something that that it might be worthwhile for KCRHA to look at if there could be some alignment with that. I think that would be helpful when we're doing the audit of the programs, because we like, there's over 650 programs, we will just see the program and the type and the inventory. We may not know the ins and outs of like how that program exactly operates. And so you could add, something to that so that there is that description with that project and to review that at the same time. So that's why I put that as yellow. So we don't necessarily have that level of detail with the HIC. And then the next one is, does the HMIS lead provide timely and accurate performance data to the COC to support agency and program evaluation in the annual project ranking and selection and process? So this is one that's in process right now with our separate NOFO committee. And so they are developing some of those processes, and I talked a little bit about that and with the review of the Seattle King County Outcomes Report. So I put that as yellow too, because I put that in process of like there's still this level of review that I think I don't think that we're like fully there yet, but we're kind of getting to that stage with that one. Any questions or comments on this section before I have just one more slide?
Yeah, just to let people know that as the HMS lead, you're a dream come true, data goddess, I call you. One of the ways we do work collaboratively is the NOFO committee that Janelle just mentioned. I think Tamara sits on that committee, but also as far as communication, one of the things that I do personally is that I sit on the advisory committee. So everything that we have for the SPC, we bring that back to the advisory committee, and anything that they need to know about or document or have for their records is posted. And we now have that every month. We make room for ourselves on the advisory committee agenda, Janelle, so you'd be proud of us to know that we fought for our 5 minutes to let them know, because that is a HUD mandate that we do need to report to the COC board, the advisory board. And we've also just hired a COC coordinator for ourselves too. So she's going to be part of that systems, and I'm sure she'll come and introduce herself to this committee. And then there are the other two boards. There's a governing board and an intervention board. No, it's not intervention. That sounds too nursey. Implementation. Thank you. Yeah. Intervention's a nurse title that other people from KCRHA make sure that there's collaborative effort. So there's a system of checks and balances at all levels of the KCRHA to make sure that these are happening. And as an HMS lead, I think you're perfectly placed. So thank you, Janelle.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, not seeing any other hands raised, so for the sake of agenda, we can move forward with a couple more. We have 7.4. Can everyone see this okay? Just let me know if it's a little small. Research. I see it. Just make it okay. Does the HMIS lead provide timely and accurate reports to the COC and other HMIS stakeholders required or requested in accordance with any report or evaluation protocol, policies, and procedures? And so I think that this is another one that I would say, in process, like we do that, but we don't like have like a formal, like, this is what we do. Like if to respond like, yeah, we're working on that. And that's something that we're building into this committee for bringing these reports to you all. And then for other stakeholders, we do have a process of they can request HMIS reports. You see that we do have the system level dashboards that are fully transparent and available to anyone on the web page. But I don't know, it might be something to kind of look at, and it would be good to know from like a lived experience of like, we have these dashboards, but are they fully accessible? That I don't know, Ruby.
I would say that for me, I know how to read them because I took a lot of time to learn how. But if I was just somebody glancing at if we're talking about particularly the data on the website, right? I would just say that like specifically the shelters, like the program dots were really hard for me to kind of interpret what those really were. Because I know that the metrics are very specific, so the wording has to be very specific. But for me, it was just more about like, wait, why is there, you know, like what does this mean? I guess the dots were a little confusing for me in that scope. The other thing I would say is I'm wondering, you know, what's the idea with like real-time data? You know, like what, because I feel like personally, it would eliminate a lot of the time spent on reporting if it was just like kind of already being real-time streamed somewhere. And I feel like that is like maybe a direction to head because, you know, as a musician, I can log on to Facebook or, you know, log on to Instagram and see my data analytics for that. So I'm just curious, like kind of what anybody thought about that, or had that been mentioned, or are we working on something like that? Thank you.
Yes, those are all really good points. As if it's been mentioned, I have gotten other feedback on the dots being confusing actually. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that reminded me that, yeah, we have gotten that feedback before. And we are also working on a process for more real-time data, which is something that we've been partnering with another company to help us develop a path forward on having those dashboards update more frequently. Some of it is, I don't know if we'd be able to update all of it because the length of time homeless or, you know, episodic logic, we have to kind of wait until like that 6 months has passed to know if they have returned. So there's a little bit of that we would need to kind of sleuth out, but that is something that we have in our KCRHA to kind of work on and improve. And these are really good feedback. So this is exactly the kind of things that we're kind of hoping that you all can give us information on.
There was also a comment in the chat, Janelle, from Darlene.
Oh, thanks, Darlene. Maybe creating a reference sheet that has an example that it breaks down kind of like a scientific diagram.
Or yeah, key, like a map.
Yeah, just like a one-page PDF that people could reference or something.
Of
Elise,
like
yeah.
that dash of that
Yeah,
dashboard.
that way it's almost like a decoder for the data. So like when someone who, like I'm a provider, so I can read those dots. But when someone like Ruby was saying, she had to learn all the lingo and to figure out what the things meant.
Yeah.
Right, this is a good point too, because we talk about that Darlene, Janelle and Owen are the data crunchers, and Tamara and I come from the heart side of things. So we've got left brain, right brain. And if we're trying to make this more accessible to people who don't have backgrounds in data, that's hugely important. So communication needs to be something that everybody we can communicate with one another. So I'm glad you brought that up. And having a key, like you would a map that shows where things are, is essential. So thank you, Darlene and Ruby.
Yeah, I know there is a definition page on there, but we've also gotten the feedback that it's a little buried, that people haven't been able to use it because they don't know where it is. So I think that that's an issue. Yeah, Ruby?
Sorry, I just I was just thinking about the fact that it took me, you know, I kind of have an interesting perspective because I do come from the lived experience side, and I also have been like learning this system basically kind of like from scratch, you know, and it's been a lot of fun to learn about it all, but it's an interesting perspective because I don't think that sometimes, you know, in different other industries, words will mean different things than they do in another industry. You know, like the scientific meaning or the mathematical meaning. And so I think that it's really important to have either a link to something that defines it, And, you know, maybe it be the HUD page that has the glossary of terms. Maybe there needs to be more of a interconnectivity, not just between departments, which is another thing I would like to bring up, but also the ideas of like the interconnectivity between dang it, what was I got distracted, but my brain moves too fast sometimes. Well, you get what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Yeah, it needs to be, oh, that's right. We need to have the interconnectivity. The definitions need to be readily available next to the term, if it's possible to hyperlink it. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Great. I think I have one more. Does the HMIS lead appropriately support data literacy efforts with COC stakeholders, including data documentation, data interpretation, and report management for both point in time counts and longitudinal analysis? So this kind of speaks to some of the other concerns that you guys had brought up. So this one I also flagged that I feel like we can improve upon here. And it's going to be really important that we kind of talk about that piece, like data literacy and what we can do to support that. So that, like I said, like someone who is in our system receiving services should be able to know and interpret these reports and have access to these reports, and especially their data they should have access to, which we don't have right now.
Janelle, where are we on that as far as users being able to access their own data? That's still in the works, something we're working on?
Yeah, that we have planned to start in next year. And they are, BitFocus has developed a portal, basically a client portal, that they'd be able to go in and access their own information and respond to things like submit assessments, you know, contact caseworkers, those type of items. So that will start next year. Ruby.
Is HIPAA compliance going to be a part of that?
It's
It
all
needs to be.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
That kind of goes back to the security and privacy. It's all.
That's what I was questioning earlier. Sorry. Okay. Great. Thank you.
Yeah. So all of our data security is reviewed by the Department of Commerce of Washington State, and so everything is set up and established, those rules and regulations, user accounts, all of that. But yeah. Let's see. And so this one kind of speaks to, you know, do we have like what you mentioned, like quick guides and user guides and terminology glossaries and data dictionaries, and are they clear and do they make sense and are they accessible? And I'm like, I feel like we need to check on that one because we do have them in some here fashion, but I don't know if we're like a gold star here. I think that there's definitely some room for improvement. Okay.
If the guides are as cumbersome as the data is, then we're failing in that. So we have room for improvement.
Yeah, totally. Okay, thanks for letting me walk you through that, and you guys been providing comment. I am trying to get organized on these slide decks so that I can make sure that these can go out to you guys ahead of time. So I apologize, I did not get these to you ahead of time, these particular ones, but we will we'll work on improving that as well. Okay, got through all these. Sorry, we're running a little behind on time, but Tamara, I'll kind of turn it back to you.
Yes, are we not having Stephanie present?
Yes, I guess that would be next, Stephanie. I wanted to give you the opportunity to
Thank you.
introduce Stephanie.
Is it okay if I share my screen? Oh, cool.
Mhm.
I'll be short and sweet today just due to being pressed on time. And besides that, my update's not super major because we're kind of in the process of wrapping up our final report. So can everybody see my screen? Great, thank you. So federal reporting updates, and then for new members, we've been doing this consistently for a couple months. So some of this will be updates, but I did try to provide some context. So if you have questions, let me know. So updates on submission. We've submitted the LSA and we've also submitted the system performance measures. So our next kind of grouping of report is the housing inventory and the point in time counts, which you've heard Janelle reference earlier this meeting. And those are due on April 28th, 2023. And then just a quick overview of the HIC and PIT. HIC is a single day snapshot of the homeless dedicated beds and utilization. And the PIT is a single day snapshot of individuals and families in sheltered and unsheltered situations. So that's what we're talking about. And that's the report we're currently working on. And so this is our updates right now on where we're currently at with the HIC PIT. And so from our last meeting, HDX is finally open for data entry as of today. So we're finally able to start putting some data in there. And for those of you that don't know what HDX is, it's just basically the online portal where we enter the data to submit to HUD. And so where we're at with that is that Alex Espinosa, she works here at BitFocus. She's kind of our lead on HIC PIT this year for King County. She is currently doing data quality outreach with agencies. The focus has been low and high utilization rates. And so 82 of our 135 agencies kind of fell into that category where they either had a low or high utilization rate. And so she's been doing outreach with those agencies specifically right now. Overall, we've found that the main cause of those lower utilization rates, which is the bulk of those, has just been missing move-in dates. So kind of working with agencies one-on-one to help them with their data quality, specifically about move-in dates, which, to be honest, this is a common thing that we see every year, missing move-in dates. So no surprise to us. And we'll just continue to work with those agencies and bring move-in dates up as we can in training opportunities. There was also some common confusion across agencies that were provided emergency housing vouchers on how to do the data entry into HMIS. We do have quick guides on that, and there's been confusion about that as well. So we'll continue to work with agencies on that specific data entry requirements. And that being said, Alex has actually made herself available to all 82 of those agencies if they wanted further help with data cleanup. And so she's actually met with 21 of those agencies individually to help with that data cleanup and then provide training on EHV and other topics as needed. And Alex will continue to make herself available until we submit that report. And that's all I have specifically on HIC PIT today. And next month we'll have a more thorough update because we'll be actually doing that data entry into HDX and be able to kind of see where we're at with that. So does anybody have any questions?
Stephanie, has HUD given us a final deadline for this report?
Yeah, just today. We were thinking it was going to be around April 30th and we were somewhat right. It's going to be April 28th, 2023. So.
Okay.
Yeah, just told us today, which is, I'm like, well, that's a tight timeline, but we were kind of aware just due to patterns. So no big surprise. And then just to wrap up my update, I kind of always share stats. I shared them in the chat earlier, but kind of our HMIS right now, we have 135 active agencies, 697 active programs, 1,332 active users. And from the 15th of February to today, we had 7,079 logins. Sorry, getting tongue twisted. So a lot of activity going on. And yeah, that's what I have for y'all today. I'll pass it back over to you, Tamara.
Oh, thank you. Very, very informative. Does anybody have any follow-up questions or thoughts? If not, then I think we can move on to the next piece, which is looking at the new member application. I think there's one new application that we'll be looking at. Is that right?
Yes, so I sent this to you all ahead of time. So I'm not sure if you had time to review. We have an application from Margaret Woolley. And let me know if you want me to move my screen. I wonder if I gave the link. I can put the link in the chat as well. And if you don't get access, just email me real quick and I can then get you access. So I just opened it up for discussion about this candidate.
Mhm.
Was she invited here today?
No. Was I supposed to invite her?
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Oh, did not do that. I thought it might be kind of weird to review her application and have her here. Maybe that's why I didn't.
Do they have lived experience? I was trying to figure that out.
I had that as a
Scroll right or left? Is it in a column?
currently a role of Director of Data and Impact for We Are In. Let's
I
see.
think we need more people with lived experience for sure. That's for sure.
Well, if you go back down, it said yes to live experience, I think. I don't know. It was.
Yeah, I think I
Yeah,
added
it was at the
yes.
very bottom. If you scroll all the way to the bottom,
Thank you. I was like, did I see that?
it's right
Oh,
there.
okay. Yeah, I have this column in here twice. That's causing some confusion.
Yeah, that really brings up a really good point that we do need more people with lived experience on the committee. So
Mhm. And you do. You also don't have a, you don't have like a set number of seats. Like you guys can decide how many people you want on the committee.
Janelle wants 18.
We had
also-
18 before.
I'd also really love to see more representation from the BIPOC community on
Yeah.
this and the COC board.
She
just
identifies
because-
as white, though, according to her.
Mhm.
Right, and that's
And-
fine. I just would like to invite more BIPOC and LGBTQ identifying folks onto the board
Mhm.
because the perspectives there are invaluable, and they are the most impacted by the funding and political chaos that is
Yeah.
our government.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'd love to see more of that. Please start recruiting.
Yes, I was gonna say, well,
Here's the
then
here's
you
the
all-
QR code.
Recruitment is for you. It's open to anyone. This is on our website. I have printed this flyer and paper copies of application at KCRHA. So if anyone would like to come and pick some up, when for the new folks joining the committee, well, I can give those to you when you come for the orientation too. So feel free to pass this.
Do you want us to vote on accepting Margaret into the committee today, or what had you planned on, Janelle?
That would be up to you all. So you guys are the ones that would vote. So I'll leave that up to you, to the co-chairs.
Be nice to meet her, but her politics and her ethics look good according to what I'm seeing in two-dimensional black and white here. I mean, it's
Mhm.
hard to make a informed decision on who this person is without actually talking to her and getting to know her a little bit. But she sounds like she might be an asset with her background. What does everybody else think?
I think it's important to stay consistent in how we're reviewing and inviting people into the fold, just because I don't want to have somebody come back and say, well, this is you interviewed me in person versus you looked at my paper application. And so like that could create bias. And I just think it's important to, however we approach it, to be consistent in that, so that we don't inadvertently cause folks to think, well, they favored that person over this person, and we don't want that. So yeah, and I'm looking at that. I do like a lot of the experience and the harms that she names in her responses. So that's good.
Understanding
I'm
that.
curious.
Go ahead, Ruby.
I was just gonna say, I'm curious about the We Are In. You said she was, is she a member of We Are In?
She's a data director, data and
Okay.
impact, so.
Okay. And does We Are In do any like actual services, or is it just like an advocacy group? They kind of deal with all the donations and like facilitating that, or what?
I think they also do like large scale community forums and events that really, and they
They
did
do.
like a
Bring awareness.
panel.
I've been invited to those, yeah.
Yeah, it's really, really good stuff.
A partnership for zero.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just feel like
Yeah,
that's
I
a
don't
little
think
close to the inside of it there, you know? I would like to
Yeah.
see somebody, I mean, maybe, I don't know. I personally don't know them. That was hard to say.
They call
just,
themselves a coalition of housed and unhoused neighbors, so.
Yeah, I feel like they're pretty in the thick of it with the money stuff. That's my only concern.
So yeah, in her professional role, this is, works for organization, deepens public understanding of the causes, impacts, and solutions to homelessness in King County. Funds and advances innovative solutions to homelessness. Supports unified and accountable system of care, organizes and build a movement of community allies.
There it is, her basic belief there.
Mhm.
Housing is a human need, not a right. Not a
And that,
privilege.
yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, I want, and especially this is why I wanted to have that reframing homelessness, housing justice focused question, because and even KCRHA says it's a basic human need. It is a right. We have every right to be housed and safe and in community with people who, support us. And so it is not, yes, it is definitely one of the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, but it's more than that. It is a human right. And I personally love demanding my rights. I love exercising my rights, and I encourage everybody here to do so. And we need to reframe the narrative around homelessness and how we think about it.
Challenging the status quo by changing.
Absolutely. It is a
the
human
paradigm.
right. It's not just a need.
Nope.
Yep.
We need to change the laws. Like there's some serious like government things that could change, like actual ordinances and stuff like that. People can get fined if somebody's living in a tent on their own property, so
Homelessness is not a criminal action.
Exactly.
yeah, and
believe
it
that
shouldn't
here.
be treated as such.
Right.
Yes, it should not be treated as such. And I think we really need to get those other cities in this county on board with that notion. I don't care how it happens, it needs to happen. There needs to be somebody with lived experience that's giving these reports on the news. There needs to be somebody that can actually lift up the voices, like Juanita the other day at the implementation board system planning committee, like brought up the fact that blankets hadn't been worked into the severe weather reaction or response, and that really irked me in a way that I couldn't explain. That it took her 10 minutes to figure that out, if not less. And so I think it's really important that we start to change that narrative more than anything. We need to see people, and I love Mark, I think he's great, but instead of Mark giving the report, it would be maybe nice to see somebody who's gotten help. Sorry. Yes.
Ruby, no, that's okay. I understand your passion, but the focus of this committee meeting right now, we're all in the same place. We've all expressed the same feelings, but the focus of this meeting today, if I'm going to rein it back in, is we're looking at Margaret as a potential board member for a committee. And so I understand that this is a very emotional topic. It is for all of us. So I appreciate your comments, but we do have a time limit and we do need to focus on what the work that we're doing right now, which is to look at whether Margaret would be a good addition to this committee.
Thank you for that reminder. I apologize. Thank you for teaching me how to be on a committee. All right, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Can you scroll down to her professional experience for me?
Yeah. Where is it?
You're getting close. The Director of Data and Impact. That's what I thought.
Yeah, and like full disclosure, KCRHA partners very closely with WeRN.
Partner insurance, yeah.
So just know that like Margaret's in a lot of the operations and it's not necessary. She's not like a decision maker, but she helps to, you know, move projects forward and provide support on analysis projects. But she's not like a director, but she helps in that capacity. So
I have a suggestion, Janelle. Why don't we invite her to the planning meeting for Wednesday, April 1st? Or no, April 5th? The Wednesday planning meeting, and maybe we could think of some questions we have for her, do an interview among the sitting members here. And that would be, and then ask her to go off camera and then make a vote or whatever. But it'd be an opportunity for her to meet us and for us to meet her and question her as well. What do you think of that?
Well, that would be different than my experience becoming a committee member. Just
Okay.
going back to what she was saying earlier, like I applied in December and then I got a random email. Well, not random, but I got an email last month being like, hey, are you still interested? And I was like,
Right.
yes, you know.
Yeah, it was,
So
that was desperation. So, okay, so Margaret's a member. Send
but
her an
I
email,
also-
say she's a member.
I'm also curious, like what the intent, like how many board members do you want? And then trying to get people with lived experience that represent the communities we work with. So
Right.
like how many spots or like how, because like as a white middle-aged woman, I don't represent the community that I work with. So I just want to be like, call that out, like being intentional about that, like you were saying earlier.
So it's not like we have thousands of applications pouring in that we have to wade through, but I appreciate your sense of equitability about how you were invited to the committee and that this woman has expressed interest. And, you know, that's a big criteria. So if you think
I
we
would just
should,
say that all experiences are different throughout life. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
And I guess the only thing I would say in addition to that is knowing that there is a relationship already established between, you know, WeRN and KCRHA. I think maybe we should do some of that like implicit bias training that we do when we go to rate applications for the NOFO. Because again, equity is such a core value, and I don't want anybody or any institution to get preferential treatment. It should be equitable across the system. And so if this person or this program has a relationship already established, how are we going to ensure that things are equitable and that a decision isn't being influenced or resources isn't being allocated based on that relationship with that program or project? I just want to be as unbiased as possible.
I will be as biased as I need to be toward my native people, and you will toward your Pacific Islander people. But
Yes.
I manifest as a Caucasian woman, which I'm not, but so I know what it's like to live in a community my whole life while being homeless, while being a Native American woman, while appearing white. So I bring that perspective, as Ruby said, that I bring that perspective to this committee, but I will still hear you out no matter what flavor you are.
Yeah.
What gender, what your racial background is, what your work background is. But I appreciate what you're saying too, Tamara. So I say we give her a chance because we don't have 9,000 people waiting in the wings to join our committee. And she may bring a perspective, but you know, as far as having an implicit bias, well, that'll be training for the next meeting because we all have them.
Yes, we
right?
do.
Yes, we
And
do. Yes, we
it's
do. And
just-
explicit biases too.
Yeah, and we just need
So-
to be mindful of those.
Exactly. And I think we
yeah.
are here. I think we really try to do that here, specifically. So,
If I could just add, I did create a scoring tool that I would recommend. And based on when we had set up the criteria by who we would want on the committee, we had set up that criteria based on these items. And so this would be something that you guys can use to help aid in those decisions. And as much, obviously we have biases, but this could help if you are reading the response and then rating that response low, medium, high. And if you have, at least like 5 people or whatever able to do that, you could then, have the score and you could then have a more, a better response to go off of. So, Erica?
I just wanted to revisit the comment about her working with WeArn and having such an active relationship with KCRHA. And I think I read it in maybe I didn't, I made it up. But just an opportunity for people to remove themselves from decision-making or conversations if there is a potential conflict of interest. And just to make sure that, everyone sitting at this table is aware that we all should be, reminding ourselves of that if in fact there is something like that. So I couldn't remember if there's something that we signed. I'm fairly certain there was. There's a lot of things I see that say conflict of interest, so it may just feel kind of jumbling.
I think it's as long as you don't vote on the thing, there's no, as long as you say something like I abstain, then it's not conflict of interest to be working with. And as long as you're not getting money from HUD, right? So if you're voting on something that your program gets money from HUD, then that would be conflict of interest. As far as I understand it, I could be wrong, but.
So where would you guys like to go from here?
Do we need to do a formal vote process and by a yay or nay? Or by roll call?
Is that how it was done last time? Like for the rest of our positions? Then we should probably just follow that.
Yeah,
To make
okay.
sure that we're being equitable.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Has everybody had a chance to look through the responses and make an informed decision based on your perspective?
I guess I just have one final question. I think this kind of came up, but we don't have a set number of members for this committee. Is there a goal number of members that we have?
Janelle wants 18.
Okay.
To get you a t-shirt, Janelle.
And the more the merrier, I guess.
Jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
18.
I think so. And I think, at some point, we really want to have, more people with lived experience and bring in new partnerships. This would not be that, but that doesn't mean that we can't work towards bringing on new partners and that, each person, there's a committee for a reason. Each person brings something to the table that is of value. So does Margaret bring something that would be of value to this committee?
I'm going to pipe in here too, Janelle. Do you remember when we had the foo-fra about getting those paper copies made for distribution?
Yes, those are made.
No, I've had them for over a week and I've been trying to get them to the people who requested them. And I've not gotten any response from any of them after multiple attempts. So I have quite a few applications for our committee, for the COC committee and for the CEA committee, riding around in my car without a clue as to who to disperse those to, which would assist our communities in getting a more variety, a wider variety of participants and community members. But I just wanted to let you know that was a huge crisis and a huge deal and a huge thing to do. So I actually, got those from Alex over a week ago from the KCRHA offices, and have been trying to distribute those to the people who were supposed to be picking those up, and have got just crickets and tumbleweeds. So I'm not going to apologize for their lack of response, but we'll need to find a different venue to get those applications distributed to the places that we will get more people of varied backgrounds. And I apologize for us not being able to carry that out. So.
Have we tried putting them in like coffee shops? Like I put up posters for flea markets and stuff, you can go in and maybe get a coffee shop or like a library or something like that. And then anybody from the community could find it.
That was not my portion of the outset. I don't have the capability to do that. I had the capability of having these made, picking these up, and then distributing them to the people who are supposed to be doing it, Ruby. So that's what I'm saying, is that I don't have the capacity to do what you're asking. So we need to find
I was just suggesting. I'm sorry.
I understand, and those are all good appointments, but if you listen to what I said, I have actually followed through on what I said I was going to do. The other people dropped the ball that were supposed to be doing exactly that. So, and I don't want to get into an argument here. No, I'm not going to get into an argument here. Right, thank you. So anyway, we'll need to find a different way to get, because not everybody has electronic adaptations to be able to plug in that QR code. Not everybody has electronics to be able to download an application. The paper copies were meant to be able to be accessible to people who had lived experience, who were not electronically informed, if you will. So that created a glitch in us getting the people that we do now have on the committee. And this other person, I'm going to presume she found us electronically as well. So that's another implicit bias in the system, but I'm explaining how that could happen. I agreed to do my part, followed through. The other people that agreed to do their part did not. And that's
okay. Well, that's fine. We'll just let that go then. That happen. I think we can do both. Like you can elect somebody if you so wish to do so today, and you can also do recruitment. So,
well, we get active recruitment. That'll have to wait for the next COC board meeting to find out who can help with that. But yeah, well, do we make a motion to vote on her today? Do you want to do that, Tamara? Or?
Yes, but I just wanted to point out a comment in the chat. Could this group ask KCRHA communications folks to put notice and links in their newsletter that goes out to a broad distribution, and to list that go out to the provider network?
I think they already do, don't they? KCRHA does that.
We have a newsletter. Are you sure we have a newsletter?
HMIS newsletter. I've been including it in the HMIS newsletter.
Oh, okay. We have it in, yeah, but that's kind of limited. But I think it's a great idea. We could definitely mention it in the board meetings and other spaces, and then you all go forth and actively recruit. Let me know if there is any.
I will be attending the LEC meeting tomorrow, and I have made that announcement for the last several weeks. We meet Friday. And I'd like to bring up too, before we go any farther, this is kind of off topic, but everybody here today, I believe, is eligible for the stipend. That you're going to be doing a lot of work in this committee, and you're going to be getting reimbursed for that. Is that correct? Right, Janelle? And so what I wanted to do is I'm going to put Daniel Smith's email in the chat, and Daniel is the one that you'll need to contact with your information, and he will walk you through how to get reimbursed for being here at this meeting today. So it's just Daniel@wearelec.org. So it's going to be incumbent on you, everybody that's here, to contact Daniel, who is the bookkeeper / accountant / stipend manager maven that allows for all of us to get reimbursed for this committee work. So, and today's worth 2 hours to you. So any committee work that you do, you will get reimbursed for. So please be sure you contact Daniel at wearelec.org. He's wonderful to work with. Thanks.
So we have about 10 minutes left in our meeting today.
And,
So
we still have to do that.
right.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think we should just go ahead and do the vote.
Okay.
But I also think, we're doing a kind of an assessment of how this process versus coordinated entry versus the COC board, like we also need to have like an accountability measure. Like if you don't show up to the 3, 4, 5, 6 meetings, then we'll need to revisit your, stay on this board or this committee and find another committee to place you on. But I think it's really important that there's consistency and also accountability in doing the work of this, because this is a core component of our homeless response system. So I want it to be messaged to everybody that you need to take this seriously and not do what members of the board have done and just like sign up to be on the board and then no show for endless meetings. And it just, why did you apply to be on the board if you're not going to show up? And so that's my trigger. So
I think that's
please
great.
show up.
That's great, Tamara. And I think what we can do is we can go ahead and incorporate that into a charter of sorts for our committee to just make that one of the regulations. So I here, second that.
I flagged that for our planning meeting. I have Sherry hand up.
Yeah, can you all hear me?
Yes.
Okay. And also, I agree with that too as well, but I also think that we need to be more organized, because a couple of I tried to get on and couldn't get on and was really upset because there was a 2-part last month and I was on the first one, nobody was on. And then the second one I was on, people were on, but if it was canceled, I didn't know about the first one being canceled, or sometimes I don't even know about the meeting. So just make sure that people have the access to be on.
You know what, too, Sherry, this is becoming a chronic issue. Parker Schultz is sending out all of our invitations for any meetings that we're on. Parker Schultz does not work for the KCRHA anymore, but Parker Schultz, anytime you receive an email from Parker Schultz, that'll have the meeting demographics, the information, the time and date. But I was ignoring them because I knew Parker didn't work there anymore. Well, those were the links I needed to get onto the meeting. So I didn't even know that until last month, that there's some glitch in Parker Schultz's email. Did you know about that?
Then right, but then I seen that too, but then I was told by Peter, like some of those dates wasn't right. So yeah, that's when I started ignoring. But then I started to be more consistent now. So I was like, okay, I guess this is it.
Yeah, I fixed it. I'm in the system. So I'm organizing everything for our committee. And Sherry, I'm gonna email you separately and we could do some testing, make sure you don't have this issue moving forward. But I double checked everything and set up all the series. So
yeah,
but yeah.
No, I was gonna say thank you, because my schedule is very busy. So
yes,
with knowing that and putting it like today, it wasn't on my schedule, but I just got a reminder and that kind of reminded me. So it helped, so I can put it in my calendar.
Perfect. Great. So going back,
FYI, going forward, we always have our planning meetings the first Wednesday of the month from 10 to 11. We always have our public SPC meeting the third Wednesday of the month from 2 to 4.
And are we allowed to vote during the planning meetings? I don't think so. I think it has to be public.
I don't know, but we do have a comment here. So you guys, the co-chairs, is that Darlene would like to know if we are voting or not, because people do have to jump at 4 and we don't want people to miss the vote. So we need to know if we're voting now, we got to do it. Otherwise, if people need more time, that's fine. You can review it and you can vote next month.
I think that's what we need to do. Yeah.
Yep.
Because it's what we have 4 minutes. And I don't know if everybody's had a chance, and I don't even remember some of these responses. So I think it is a good idea to postpone the vote.
Okay.
Agreed.
All right, so we'll postpone a vote. I'll on the agenda next month. I'll send this out again for you guys to review. I would suggest taking some time to go through and like scoring those. I think that might help with the decision. If there are some people who can go in and kind of rank and just do a scoring, that might help to kind of with the decision making.
And FYI, this is the cutoff for stipend pays today. It's on the 15th and the 30th of the month. So if you get those, if you get to Daniel and get those hours in today, you could get potentially reimbursed for those.
All right, I will jump back to the agenda. I'll turn it over to you guys.
Excuse me. Well, I think thank you. I think we're pretty much at the point where we need to wrap up because I don't think I can go through the well-being blueprint or storytelling in 3 minutes. Oh.
Yeah, we had the client request at HMIS records. This is a policy that we will need to start that you guys will be drafting. We'll be co-creating this. And so we can move that to next month to start co-creating this. But this is very important. We don't have a procedure right now for KCRHA to follow on when clients request their records. And we need guidance from you all on how we should be handling that. So we'll be working on that next month.
Okay, so we've got that, the vote, and the full frame initiative to start off with for next month, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
And we have a few more notes. Christine, tomorrow, can you hold on a second? I want to see if you have some availability early next week.
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I think that wraps up the actual public meeting, and thank you all so much for your time and attention. And I'll send it over to Christy. It looks like she has a final thought.
Nope, I just waiting.
Oh, okay. Again, thank you all so much for participating, and I'm so happy to see this body of work grow. Can't wait to develop, more partnerships with you all. So bring your innovation and ideas and suggestions for transforming our systems because they need desperately to be transformed.
In-house training on the 24th, Janelle?
Oh yeah, that's right.
We have, is that next Friday? I believe next Friday.
And everybody's responded to that. So just a reminder for that.
Yep. So I'll send instructions out for how
Christine's shaking her head no. Oh yes, okay. She's just doing a forehead whap. Okay, we all do that here. We're in good company.
I'll send out instructions because it's a secure building. So I'll meet you guys at the door and I'll let you know what door to meet me at. And then I have a room reserved for us, and then we'll have some light refreshments as well.
Okay. All
Oh,
right.
I thought
Thank
that
you,
wasn't in
Janelle.
the budget.
Too bad.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you,
Okay.
everyone.
Did you need Tamara just to stay on, or me
Yeah,
too?
you too.
Okay.
So I wanted to see, let me pull up my calendar. I
Is
have
Ruby still here?
Ruby, let me stop recording.